Hey everyone, welcome back to another deck idea where we'll be going through all the leaders over set 15 and kind of coming up with a different deck that may work with that leader. Obviously, they're a bit more creative than some of the meta-defining decks that we may see come out for these leaders, but it gives you a good base point for things to take to locals and test out and play around with as you choose. If you like the video, be sure to like, subscribe, and stay up to date with them as they come out. Starting off with Turles, we've got permanent. If a Turles Crusher Corp card in your battle area would be placed in its owner's drop area by one of your skills, it's sent to the owner's warp instead, so not being able to successor over your Turles Crusher Corp cards in this deck. Auto, when this card is placed in your leader area, play up to one Tree of Might Divine Roots from your deck with 2 markers. So instantly having the Unison available with 2 markers is awesome. Auto, when this card attacks, draw 1. Awaken, when your life is at 4 or less, or you have 3 or more life face up, you may draw 2 cards and flip this card over. So we've got the additional Awaken effect there, giving us another option to kind of get to our backside. The backside is Turles Accursed Power, 15,000 power as per normal. Same permanent, not being able to successor and things like that. They go to the warp instead. Auto, when this card attacks, draw 1. Activate battle, once per turn, Spirit Boost 1 for 1 yellow energy. You get to choose 1. If you have 2 or more face-up cards in your life, this card gets plus 10,000 power for the battle, or you may choose 1 Fruit of the Tree of Might in your hand and discard it. If you do, activate its activate battle skill without paying its energy cost. We will go over that card, Fruit of the Tree of Might. It's the one that we saw, I believe, from Vicious Rejuvenation. We'll go over the effects of that. But yeah, being able to use it for 1 yellow energy and remove 1 marker from your Unison is sensational. Also having the option to get that plus 10,000 power if you need it. You know, if your opponent's swinging in with a big battle card, you've got that option there. Starting off with the Unison, 16k, 1 specified yellow. We don't need to pay the energy cost because our leader plays it from the get-go with the auto. But if it gets removed and you need to play another copy, you only need to pay 1 for it. Tree of Might, Divine Roots. Permanent, this card can't attack. Auto, if your leader is a yellow Turles Crusher Corp card, when your leader card attacks, you may choose 1 Turles Crusher Corp card in your hand, add it to your life face up. If you do, use 1 face up Turles Crusher Corp card from your life in a combo. We've seen this before in decks like King Piccolo, being able to combo from a life. A lot of the time those cards have effects when they get comboed from that area, and we're going to see that throughout this deck as well. You don't necessarily need to combo with the card that you place in life. So if you've already got some face up, you can use a different card face up and into a combo instead. +1 auto, if your leader is a yellow Turles Crusher Corp card, at the start of your opponent's turn, flip up to 1 card in your life face up. So, you know, giving you options there to add markers quite easily and also get those life flipped up so you can awaken early as well. -2, activate main, add up to 1 extra card with an energy cost of 1 and Tree of Might in its card name from your deck to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So giving you the ability to search out that Fruit of the Tree of Might and add it to hand instantly. Because we have a Unison live straight away from the get-go, coming out with 2 markers, as soon as it goes to your opponent's turn, you get to +1 immediately as well. We are going to run a couple of copies of Vegeta Prideful Transformation. This card doesn't see a whole lot of use compared to the other free counterplays that we've seen in the past, but nevertheless, great card available turn 1. Blocker, counterplay, you can't activate counterplay skills on other cards for the turn. The battle card being played is played in rest mode, then play this card. Permanent, if you have a yellow Unison card with 2 or more markers in play, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand without paying its energy cost. You play that Unison with 2 markers immediately, so this card is live instantly. Yeah, the card being played is played in rest mode, and then you get a 14k blocker, which is really good. So if your opponent plays anything big from the beginning that we've seen with decks like Gogeta Xeno, being able to play that Thwarting the Dark Empire turn 1, this kind of gives you that option to switch it to rest mode, and you have the blocker available. Another staple yellow extra card that we've got is Power of the Super Saiyan. Counter attack, negate the attack. Permanent, if you have 1 or more yellow energy in active mode, you can activate this card's activate battle skill from your hand without paying its energy cost. The activate battle skill on this card is if your leader is mono yellow, draw 1 card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards or Unison cards, switch it to rest mode, and you can't activate the activate battle skill on copies of this card for the turn. Phenomenal, you know, when you've got a opponent's got a 20k dual attacking or double striking unison that you don't really want to be on the receiving end of, you've got the option there to switch to rest mode with no energy requirement. Just need to have one inactive mode, so you don't need to pay the energy for it, and you get to draw one card. Really good. Another really good yellow extra card that we have is Vegeta's Final Flash. We're seeing this card pretty much in all yellow decks at the moment. Activate battle. If your leader is yellow, choose up to one of your leader cards or battle cards, and it gets plus 15,000 power for the duration of the battle. This is a one cost, sorry. If all of your energy is yellow, when you activate this card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and negate its skills for the duration of the turn. That's what makes this card really good. Being able to remove effects mid-battle can save you from a game-ending attack, things like that. Or you can just remove the skills of pesky battle cards that have barrier and things like that. Really good extra card. Another one, Freeze's Army Reinforcements. 2 cost, negate the attack if your leader card is mono yellow. Then you get to play one Freeze's Army token with 10,000 power and it gains blocker for the turn. What makes this card really good, if your life is at 5 or less, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand for free by taking a life instead. So a lot of the times your opponent might try and double strike you from 5 to 3. You get the option to then take that life instead, play the blocker as well. Just a really good negate that we see quite a lot. Forbidden Power, so a new extra card that we're seeing come out of Saiyan Showdown. Counterattack, if your leader is yellow, your opponent can only attack with battle cards one more time for the turn. Another 1 cost extra card. Activate battle, if your leader is yellow and it's your turn, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and switch to rest mode. Then choose up to one of your yellow cards and it gets plus 10,000 power for the battle. A lot of comparison with the counterattack between Nimbus, limiting the amount of battle card attacks your opponent has. This one doesn't negate the attack when you activate it, so you do still need to get through that battle, but the difference being you don't need to pitch a card for that effect. Limiting your opponent's attacks in yellow is always really good. You can kind of gain control from there. It's less cards that you need to spend surviving on their attacks. But the activate battle on this card's also really good. Switch a battle card, ignoring barrier. There's not a ton of cards that have that kind of effect that interacts with barrier in yellow. So being able to switch it to your rest mode and then getting the additional plus 10,000 power. Next, we have Fruit of the Tree of Might, a card we saw in Vicious Rejuvenation for the green Turles deck. This one is mentioned on the leader, on the unison as well. It really synergizes with this deck. So it is a green card, but obviously you can activate it on the leader by paying 1 yellow energy and removing a marker with the Spirit Boost effect to activate it from hand without having to pay that green energy cost. Activate battle, if your leader is a Turles Crusher Corp card and all of your energy is mono green and you flip 1 face-up card in your opponent's life face down. So that's the cost for the card. Since we're being able to activate it without paying its energy cost, we don't need to necessarily worry about this effect, but we do want the additional effect. So choose up to one of your leader cards or battle cards and it gets plus 20,000 power for the battle. If the chosen card's character name includes Turles, it also gains double strike. So paying 1 energy, being able to give your leader or one of your Turles battle cards that we do have in this deck, 20k and double strike is really strong. We have, Champa running around in every deck now these days where you're paying 1 energy to get 10k and double strike. This gives you an additional 10k if that card is, you get the 20k regardless, but if it gets double strike, if it's a Turles card, really strong. For the secret rare, I've gone with Super 17 Sibling Absorbed. I really like this card in yellow decks. It gives people kind of the option. It's a bit cheaper than running, say, Kai, which is probably one of the more popular generic secret rares that we have available. But you could put anything in this slot, Heroine's Lineage as well, things like that. But going over this card, Ultimate Deflect Critical. It's a 40k A drop, but we do have effects to play it for cheap, which is the permanent here. If your leader card and all of your energy are mono yellow and your opponent has 3 or more energy, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 7. So being able to play it for 1. When you do play it for 1, this is the effect that you get. So to counterplay, play this card, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, ignoring barrier, and place it under this card. The played battle card has its skills negated for the turn. Another permanent, if this card is removed from your battle area, remove it from the game instead. Something that we see on all secret rares now. A really good card. There's a big boss monster coming down that doesn't have deflect. You can counterplay with this. That card then gets played with its skills negated for the turn. And also being able to remove a battle card in rest mode, ignoring barrier, is really good as well. So synergizing well with Forbidden Power. You know, if there is a barrier card that you can't really interact with all too well, you've got the option to kind of switch to rest mode. And then if your opponent does play something that you don't really want to see the effects of, you get to counterplay with this, and then you can remove that barrier card that you just switched to rest mode. I would like to see this card played a bit more in yellow decks. I really like it, but at the moment, Kai is just too good. Next, we have Son Goku, Return of the Dragon Fist, a really popular yellow finisher that we see these days. Deflect, Double Strike, 25k. When this card is played, choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and KO them. Activate main for 3 yellow energy. If you have 4 or more energy and a yellow unison in play this card from your hand. Activate main once per turn, Spirit Boost 2 if your leader is mono yellow. This card gains dual attack for the turn, and your opponent can't activate skills on battle cards with original energy cost of 7 or less from any area when this card is in battle. So shutting off things like the battle card negates that we see, you know, if your opponent's got blockers on the field and things like that that are 7 or less. Super combos as well is what makes this card really strong. But also getting the additional effect of being able to KO 2 battle cards in rest mode as well. We're going to have the unison in play. It's 16. The unison is 16k, so it's going to be difficult for your opponent to kind of remove markers from it early on. So we're going to have that Spirit Boost 2 effect alive as well, giving us a great finisher here, a card that we will continue to see in yellow decks that run unisons. Super combo, we've got Krillin, Moments Before Combat, standard. Super combo, if your leader is yellow, your life's 4 or less, and all of your energy is yellow. When this card is used in a combo, it gets plus 10,000 combo power for the battle. You may choose 1 card in your hand, place it at the bottom of the deck, draw 2 cards. Yeah, phenomenal. You know, being able to remove a dead card, see 2 new cards is really good. I've thrown in SS Sun Goten Primed for Fusion. This was a tournament pack card from Rise of the Unison Warrior, I believe. It's a counter attack, negate the attack, then play this card. Permanent, during your opponent's turn, if you have a yellow unison in play, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2, and then auto choose 1 card in your hand and discard it. At the end of your turn, return this card to its owner's hand. I can't see too many situations where you're going to be using the auto on this card, but perhaps, you know, if you have the energy available and you expect that your opponent's going to be swinging in a couple of times, you may want to use it. But I've kind of thrown it in because we're going to have that unison available immediately. So being able to have a 1 cost 15k battle card negate is quite good, puts a bit more pressure on the opponent the opposing turn. Another negate then play this card that we have is Mecha Freezer Robotic Riposte, a pretty common yellow staple at the moment. So yeah, counter attack, negate the attack, play this card, another 15k attacker. This one is a 3 cost, but again, we have another permanent that reduces the energy cost. If your leader is yellow and your opponent has 2 or more energy, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1 for each yellow extra card in your energy and drop area. We do run a couple of different extra cards in this deck, but yeah, so later on this card gets a bit more use once you've started using Power of the Super Saiyan and Frieza's Army Reinforcement and things like that. Once you get them into the drop area, you can kind of start using this card a bit more freely. What makes this card so good? When it gets played from your hand, each time your opponent would attack with a non-unison card this turn, they must choose one of their cards in active mode and switch it to rest mode. So we're limiting the kind of flexibility the opponent has with their attacks. They do need to switch a card to rest mode each time. That can be battle card, field card, leader, energy, anything. So they kind of are restricted to the amount of attacks they've got. And then activate main 2 yellow, choose up to 1 of your yellow Freezer card with an energy cost of 4 and mecha in its card name. Play it on top of this card. We're not running any mecha cards in this deck, so we're not going to worry too much about that. Next, we see one of the SRs for the deck coming out in Saiyan Showdown. We've got the multicolor Turles Dominance at hand. I really like this card. It's a 4 cost, energy exhaust as always, blocker. We've got Arrival, green yellow for 1 yellow energy. Auto, when this card is played from your hand, draw 1 card, then choose 1. If your leader is green, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, switch to rest mode. If your leader is yellow, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 4 or less and KO it. Activate main, limit 1 for either a green or a yellow energy. If there are 2 or more Turles Crusher Corp cards in your battle area, in play in your battle area, play this card from your hand. We're going to be using this effect to play this card mostly, not the arrival green yellow, since we're not comboing with any green battle cards. But yeah, we see them kind of mix up the skills here. So usually green's KOing battle cards, usually yellow's switching cards to rest mode. So they've kind of flipped it here. In this deck, our leader is yellow, so we've got the option to KO a battle card 4 or less for 1 energy, then getting a 16k blocker on the field. I think that's really good. Next, we have Turles Dark Power Unleashed, another green-yellow multicolor card. Energy Exhaust Blocker Revenge. EX Evolve for 2 generic energy over a green Turles Xeno card with an energy cost of 4. So going back to that Turles card we just went over, you can pay 2 energy and EX Evolve straight over. Arrival green-yellow for 1 yellow, 2 generic. We're not going to be using that effect in this deck. Auto, once per turn, when this card KOs an opponent's battle card, switch this card to active mode, then choose 1 card in your opponent's hand and discard it. We will come back to that. Auto, when this card is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill, choose all of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, KO them, then choose all of your opponent's battle cards and switch them to rest mode. A couple of great effects on this card, starting off with the first one. So yeah, when this card KOs an opponent's battle cards, you get to restand it and choose a card in your opponent's hand at random. So that includes being able to attack with this card into a battle card. If you KO it, you get to then restand it and snipe a card out of your opponent's hand. Or when you block with it, Revenge will then trigger KO the opposing card at the end of the battle. If you combo out of that attack, you then get to trigger this effect, restand it. Of course, if your opponent goes to 40k, you're not willing to commit and this card then gets removed, you still get the effect, but you just won't get to restand this card. But yeah, sensational. I think that's a really good card. Turles Power the Tree, a 1-cost yellow battle card. If your leader card is a yellow Turles Crusher Corp card, when this card is played from your hand, you may choose one. I'm just going to refer to this skill, this kind of name as TCC from now on, so we're not constantly going over that. Choose one TCC card in your hand, add it to your life face up. If you do, add 1 card from your life to your hand, giving you the option there to start putting face up cards in your life early on. Limit 1, Spirit Boost 1. If your leader is a yellow TCC card, when this card attacks, it gets plus 1000 power for the battle, then use 1 face-up TCC card from your life in a combo. So yeah, this is a good option turn 1. You can start putting life face-up. When you do get to attack with it, you can remove a marker, combo with that card. And as we're going to go over the next couple of cards, we're going to get effects from comboing from life. So yeah, we get the +1, go to 5. A lot of the cards that we combo with are 5k, so being able to deal damage to an unawakened leader. Moving on to the cards that do kind of start synergizing when they get played from life and things like that. We've got the Diaz Power of the Tree. So this one doesn't have that effect that we're going to see compared to the other ones. I've jumped the gun a little bit here, but we do have 9k barrier permanent. If this card is in rest mode, your opponent can't attack Tree of Might Divine Roots. So we're kind of limiting the ability for the opponent to swing into the unison with this card. It is only 9k, so it is going to be quite easy for your opponent to remove this card if they do start swinging into it, but it's 1 less attack going into the unison. The reason that I put this card in the deck is it's got Activate Main Limit 1 for 1 yellow energy. If your leader is a TCC card, play this card from your hand, then play up to 1 Tree of Might Divine Roots from your deck or drop area with a marker on it. Shuffle your deck if you look through it. If by some chance your opponent is able to remove the unison, in this deck I am only running 1. Since it gets played from the beginning of the game, you can run multiple copies of it if you want, but you don't want to be seeing it too much because you're going to have one on the field already. But if your opponent is able to remove it, we've got another option here to get that unison back onto the field. So we're not just locked out of our effects. That's why I put this card in. Now moving on to the cards that have this effect being able to play from life. Cacao, Power of the Tree. Auto, if your leader is a yellow TCC card, at the end of the battle in which this card was used in a combo from your life, play this card from your drop area, then flip up to 1 card in your life face up. 15k attacker. Also has an Activate Main. Choose up to 1 Tree of Might Divine Roots in your unison area. Place this card under the chosen card. Add a marker to the chosen card. So yeah, being able to add markers if we need it for our Spirit Boost effects and things like that. But being able to replay this 15k attacker, I think is really good. We're going to be able to put them into life and then combo with them as we need. Another one is Amond, Power of the Tree. So we've got the same effect here, being able to combo with it from life if it's face up, playing it from the drop area, and then we get to flip another card in our life face up. So we're always maintaining kind of the amount of cards that we have face up there. Yeah, really good. So works well with the Unison card. When you attack, you get to choose one DCC card in your hand, add it to your life, and then if you do, you get to use one that's already face up in the combo area. So we're maintaining the same amount of life that we have. We're going to be putting one in and then using this effect to then, sorry about that, then combo it out. This one has an additional effect, Auto Spirit Boost 1. When this card is played, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 4 or less in rest mode and KO it, giving us another option to kind of remove battle cards that are on your opponent's field in rest mode. Obviously, it has to be 4 or less, but removal is always good. It's not something that Yellow's kind of had a great deal of in the past. So now we've got a couple of different options to start removing our opponent's battle cards as well as controlling the game and the amount of attacks your opponent has. Really good. Next we have Raisin, Power of the Tree, blocker. If your leader is Yellow Turles, Crush a Corp card at the end of battle and this card is used in a combo from your life, play this card from your drop area. So yeah, similar to what we saw with the green kind of version of this deck, we had another Raisin blocker that was able to play when it was comboed. Yeah, really good. You can combo out of an attack, then play this blocker to block the next one. Auto limit 1, when this card is played, play up to 1 mono yellow Legacy card with an energy cost of 2 or less from the deck in rest mode. Shuffle your deck and you can't play copies of this card for the turn, sorry. That card is Legacy, Power of the Tree. Again, when it gets comboed, you get to play it. This one does get played in rest mode compared to Raisin, which gets played in active mode, so you have that blocker available. But similar auto, limit 1, when it gets played, play up to 1 mono yellow Raisin card with an energy cost of 2 or less from the deck, and you can't play copies of this card for the turn. So if your opponent, is saving their big battle card swing for the last attack for the turn, you can kind of combo out of the attack beforehand and then play the blocker and have that available. Next we have Turles, all too easy. 20k double strike. When this card is played, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, KO it, then choose one, draw one card, or choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and KO it. So we're getting the second effect there of being able to KO another card in rest mode. So potentially being able to play this, pop 2 battle cards in rest mode. Doesn't specify energy, so it can be anything as long as it doesn't have barrier. Activate main for 2 yellow. If your leader card is a mono yellow Saiyan and you have 3 or more energy, play this card from your hand. Being able to play it for 2 energy is quite cheap, and then getting additional effects when it gets played. Yeah, really strong. And the last card for the deck, Son Goku, Steadfast Assistance, blocker, counterplay. The battle card being played is played in rest mode, then play this card and draw 1. Permanent, when activating this card's counter skill from your hand, reduce the energy cost of this card by 1 for each yellow extra card in your battle area, energy area, and drop area. So a couple of different areas that we can kind of maneuver these extra cards to reduce this battle card's skill. Yeah, the counterplay on this card is really good. The battle card being played is played in rest mode. You then get the blocker and get to draw 1 card. Really strong if you can kind of get this out for 1 energy. You're getting a lot of effects there for very little. But that's the entire deck. Obviously, we've got a couple of different Turles cards that work really well with Fruit of the Tree of Might, our leader included. So being able to chuck 20k on all of these cards in leader and give them double strike as well is really strong. But yeah, that's the deck. If you've got any different kind of ideas that you think might work really well, chuck them in the comments. Other than that, we appreciate the like and subscribe and all the support from everyone. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.